What's up, guys? This is JTQ9 of Ssx1, and welcome back to the channel. Season 45, war number 6 against GT40. I've got a 6-fight war for you, and as you probably saw in the thumbnail, this is yet another war that I had maybe taken a death. We'll get to that a little bit later when we get to that fight, but the thing that was frustrating with this particular war was I was later to join. Let's say I was one of the last ones to join, and at this point, I want to say the war was already lost. So I didn't use necessarily some invulnerability boosts or necessarily some power start ones because I was running low and wanted to save them for other wars. So they had, I think, 7 or 6 fights left, and they only had 1 death, and we were already at 3 at the time, or 2 deaths, and we still had like 50 some odd fights. So anyway, we'll get to this. So in the first one, I had Wiccan tactic, pretty easy, went down relatively quickly, as you saw. This one here against Gallon, being a dimensional being against Blade, making sure I did have just spamming kind of the SP1 because I didn't want to put any of the power back boosts on to save it. So again, just trying to bait out the SP2, not take any heavy so he doesn't complete his harvest, which is where things kind of start getting you into trouble. So, Gallon with Blade, there's never really an issue. It's a pretty easy fight, and I've taken it numerous times, as you guys have seen. So, nothing to worry about there. So now we get to the fun part, or So the next fight I've got a class disadvantage Gwen going up against an Atuma. I was told that with the tactic, I'd be taking very little damage, and the idea was to bait the heavies and spam the SP1s. Now, as this fight kind of goes on, we're going to see that I decided to completely disregard everything that I said we were going to do. So I did put a regen boost on just because, you know, they're always burning, and I figured, you know, if I was ever going to use one, this would be kind of the war to do it. So yeah, so what ended up happening was, so I had a chance to throw an SP1 there. I did not. So I pushed SP2 now, and he's being very stingy, so I did that just to make sure that I would have a slow up, so he wouldn't go unstoppable on me or anything. But now I'm in a spot where I'm getting backed up into a corner, which is never good. I don't know why I was just... I don't know. I just had a mental breakdown. So instead of hitting, 5-hit combos out, I decided to throw random hits into the air just for the fun of it. And thank goodness that despite being cornered and playing like an absolute tool, I managed to get it down. So, but that's where kind of the start of this was. So this next fight, as we analyzed it after the fact, this is in fact where I died. So I don't want to say it was a tactical error, because I have taken this fight before with him, but being an Ascended Abs man, I had a really hard time with his regeneration. So, and just, I honestly don't know what I could have done better in this particular fight. So, I managed to kind of try to get the counter heavy going. It worked and it didn't work. He'd be unblockable at times. He'd always have the kind of the regens going up. I'd throw the SP2 to try to dampen his, the regen. But the relic in this one, where the dex isn't supposed to trigger for Mystic Dispersion, might be a little bit broken. Or, don't take my words for it. That was the word. Those were the words of my fearless leader, who may have happened to have designed the Abs man. So now I'm a minute and a half in. He is back up to 96% health. and I'm freaking out. I can't seem to find a way to damage, so I dex there and triggered MD. And then he went to an SP3. So there's one SP3. There I decided to block when he was refined, so obviously I took some pretty significant damage there. So I'm like, okay, let's try the SP3. Will that do anything? And now he's regenerating at a ridiculous rate. So he was close to 100% health back there, and I am down to what is that? 19, 20%, 16%? Anyway, whatever the number is, down to a low amount. I still managed to get him down now to 45% health. And then that triggers another SP3 that then kills me. So already now not happy with that particular fight. I was trying to get some advice going this. It was still late at night. No one was answering me. I have now very, very little items left to use, because now I've fully regenerated twice with kind of the maximum ones he had. I had to spend some units on this too. And then now again, I was like, okay, I did some research. I was working on some more duels. I was able to kind of get the heavy kind of counter down properly. And then now as this fight is going on, remember, he started this fight with 45% health. 30 seconds in, he is now at 75% health. Oh, but it gets better, because, 40 seconds in, he was down up to 90% health. And I am now, again, freaking out because he is regenerating faster than I'm doing damage again. And I was being cautious because I didn't want to push him to the SP3 again. So now we are a minute and a bit in. He is up to 98, 99. He is back up to a full bar of health after 1.5 fights going through. So now I'm like, okay, spam the SP2. Try to get the deactivated modes so he won't have additional kind of armor up or anything like that. So, okay, perfect. I land a great heavy there. I get an SP to 53,000 crit SP2, followed by another good SP2 with the power backs. Fortunately, I had a striker going, and I land this ridiculous combo that God knows how it worked. Managed to get him down. Because when I was sitting there a minute and a half into this fight, he was still at 100% health. I was freaking out, losing my mind, because I know someone else, DLO, was waiting on me to take this Sassy, which is also a very, very tough fight. So as you see, I'm down to 3 items now. Not in a good situation, and against what I thought was going to be my hardest fight. I've taken this in the last war. I kind of watched some video of what I was doing wrong to kind of clean up how I was taking this fight. And honestly, as we're going through this, I was very happy with the result of this fight. It was probably my cleanest one to date. The first fight was pretty clean, but this one, because he is a R3 duped, what did he have? Did he have 700,000 health or something ridiculous like that? And we're a minute in, and I've already done more damage than I did in 2 fights against Absman on an easier node, arguably. Yeah, we're not going to get over that one for a while. Anyway, like I said, fortunately, this was in a war where, well, it happened in a war that was kind of already lost. I'm not saying it's justified, but it does make it feel a little bit better because, let's say I wasn't fully max boosted, so that could have been a difference as well. I wasn't with the 30s, I had the 20s. I didn't use an invul boost, instead I used the power back. I did use an invul boost the second time because I didn't want to die twice. And I got just really lucky with those SP2 crits that just kind of saved me. And then now we're going into this one, a minute and a half in now, and feeling pretty good. The protection's down. Was down. I do have the white mags pre-fight on it, so I can parry. Well, not one of his ores up there, but I was able to kind of do some damage. So I'm doing some mediums at 9,000, 14,000 hits. So I am doing some very, very decent damage here. Trying to, again, build to the SP2. I was going to... I didn't want to push to an SP3, so that's why I threw it. Otherwise, I would have probably kind of parried in heavy first and then thrown the SP2. But I was also like that. So now the protection's... okay, I take that back. He's got his Wrath rack again. And his protection's back up. So now I'm just making sure that I'm trying to hit him, push it back. I don't want to get cornered. And you definitely don't want to take the SP1 to the face when he's got the Wrath up, because then he will stun you. So there's the kind of the heavy, and there's the SP2 that finishes him off, which was good. So relatively speaking, I came out of that fight healthy. And oh yeah, by the way, after all of that, I still have one more fight. We've got Penny versus Nick Fury. And I was like, okay, thank goodness I get to end on a better note and hopefully build some confidence. I've taken Nick Fury 100 times. And I was like, oh wait, right, this is the make a stand, so I have to knock him down. It's the one I opened, so I can't parry him to knock him down without taking damage back. I was like, oh yeah, what could possibly go wrong with this fight? So I kind of do my typical kind of penny cycle to start, where I try to get some parries in to build my own power, and then as soon as he crosses kind of his bar of power, I can throw the SP1 to get my charges up. Having the Spider-Gwen synergy gives me the additional, 3 or 4 Spidey Sense charges right away, so that kind of helps. Always trying to push him to an SP2, as you all know. And then what happens here? Oh yeah, so I'm building back to the SP2 if I can. And I feel like something goes terribly wrong here, and I'm trying to remember why. Yeah, so I knocked him down, trying to get the protection down, and then throw the SP2, and yeah, so everything's going well. I get my 13 incinerates on, he's whittling down, no problem. And so now he's unblockable. He's got 17 charges. He parries me. Still unblockable, has the SP1. I believe he throws the SP1 while unblockable. So now I'm down to 29 health, and I'm like, oh dear God, what is going on? Are you kidding me? This is Nick Fury. You've taken him 100 times, 100,000 times. You've taken him in Battlegrounds. Everyone seems to always, whenever I pick Penny in Battlegrounds, people always seem to pick Nick Fury and put him there, not realizing that she is the perfect counter for him. So I've got loads and loads of experience, and then I've got another fear of potentially dying with my favorite champ again to a Nick Fury. Fortunately, 2 minutes and then some longer than it needed to be, I got him down. This horrible, horrible war feeling I have is now over, fortunately. And like I said, so we ended up losing. So I was the third death, but we ended up losing this one 4-1. The fourth death, I believe, was just kind of like a trial thing we wanted to do, so it wasn't really going to be a death. Someone else took the fight, so... Anyway, what can I say? So yeah, so 3-3 on the season, 31 kills, 2 deaths. Another death for me, not happy about that. We'll clean that up and hopefully go deathless the rest of the season. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.